So does a water-fed pole system remove hard water stains? And the answer is no. So there's many forms of hard water stain, but the majority of hard water stains come from sprinklers, and they're usually on the ground floor. If you get hard water stains higher than ground floor, the chances are they're coming from the surface, the cladding of the building, like something like stucco, which has got lime in it, and as it oxidizes, that oxidation will get caught up in the rain, and it'll run down over the glass. So that if it's from stucco, yes, water-fed can take it off, no problem. But if it's from sprinklers, the chances are that the sprinklers go on and leave the beads of water on, the beads of water dry, leave the calcium and the magnesium, the hardness, right, onto the glass. And then they do that over and over and over again. And there's a chemical bond between the calcium and the silicate, which makes the glass. So the hard water stains become bonded to the glass. And then you have to use something like One Restore, or there's some other ones which are basically calcium, magnesium, dissolving acids. And then you have to know exactly how to do that so you don't acid etch the glass and damage the glass, and then you're up for repair or insurance or something like that.
We should also say that you can take it out with water, but maybe you need the rocker with the scrubs.
Yes. So you.
Not all.
No, that's right. No, if it's calcium on glass, now you can. If somebody's got sprinklers and you can get to regular cleaning their windows, then you can prevent that, right? It's really a long-term process that somebody actually gets hard water stains on the glass. But if they clean their windows once a year and the sprinklers are on every day and you've got a hot environment and it cooks on, and I don't know how, I haven't really researched too deep as to where that point is, but definitely, more regular cleaning is going to reduce the risk of that kind of reaction happening with it, where it bonds with the glass. And then you would use your lunch is here.
Sorry.
And then you can use if you use radial rocker, then you've got the different scrubs and the different agitation, which makes it much faster to cut through the oxidation related or stucco, oxidation related. They call it hardness. Hard water staining, but it's different to sprinkler hard water staining. All right, coffee time. 2 more.
2 more. 40 minutes.
I can talk. All right, so this one is water hardness versus TDS. And in particular, we have atomic resin on the Pacific Ocean right now. It's December the 2nd or December the 3rd, something like that, 2021. So we have 2 atomic resins coming out now. It's already in Australia. And one of them is a hard water blend and the other one is a soft water blend. So what is water hardness, and why would I use a hard water blend or a soft water blend? And so it goes like this. Water hardness is defined as the parts per million or milligrams per liter, depending on what you're reading. But the parts per million that are calcium and magnesium. And it might only be calcium, but anyway, calcium and magnesium both contribute to what's called water hardness. So if you Google your town and then the words water quality report, usually, and there's very rarely that I can't find it, then usually you can find the report and it'll have TDS and hardness separated. And sometimes it'll go through suburb by suburb. So what we might do, Martin, I've got the report from Perth, right? And we can put that into this video. And so we...
It's not just the TDS, the number of the TDS, but also
correct.
What type of
what is in the TDS, yeah. Okay. So high TDS is not hard water. High calcium and magnesium in the water is hard water. So you'll see that there's 2 suburbs that I will highlight into this video, and there's Banbury and there's Two Rocks. And both of them have got high TDS, but one has got high hardness and the other one doesn't. So in the one which has high hardness, then you would use a hard water mix of mixed bed DI resin. So what that does is it has more cation resin in it, like 65% cation, and that cation is aimed at taking the calcium and the magnesium out of the water, right? So that gives you an idea is the problem is that it's not the same everywhere, so you have to really know that most of your area has got a lot of lime, a lot of calcium in the water. And if you think about the UK where they've got the White Cliffs of Dover, right? So anything that rains in Dover, it's going to run over the ground into a lake, but it's run over the ground that's loaded with calcium, like it's just white, everything's white. Or if it goes into a lake and then through an aquifer and underground rivers and through porous rock and all that sort of thing, it's going to pick up crazy amounts of calcium. So in the UK, well, you're better to get silicates. Silicates are better. That's like San Pellegrino. That's good water. Like for some parts of the UK, they can get hard water with TDS 900, of which most of that TDS is calcium, like that. So if you look at it, if you can look through the different reports, and you can have a little bit of a study on this, and we might even do a little voiceover. I might cut a voiceover in, Martin, into this video.
This is us explaining what happens with different water qualities with hardness and TDS. So this is a report from the Perth Water Control Department, whatever it is. And you can see here I've got TDS and I've got the hardness, and these are all the suburbs of Perth. So I'm going to go to a couple of them, for example, with high TDS, high hardness, low TDS, low hardness, that kind of thing. So if we take Buckland Hill and we come across and we find that the TDS is an average or a mean of 450, and the hardness here, so the hardness is 67. So that would be 15% hardness. Now if we come down to dwelling up, we can say it's a low TDS area. Yeah, so close to soft water, still in Perth. And the hardness is 30. So that's like 21%. And then we'll come all the way down to Two Rocks. This is alphabetical down here, so just Two Rocks. Here you've got like pretty high TDS, 525, and the hardness is 220. So that's like 42% hardness, 2 to 3 times what we looked at before. And then we can have a look at another example is Pinjarra, and this is, again, you'd say, low TDS for Perth, so it's coming from a different water supply than the high TDS areas, but the hardness is 55. So that's like 36%, so that's also quite high. So you would say this is low TDS hard water, compared to high TDS, low hardness, high hardness. So you can't make too much of this because you're going to clean windows in all of these suburbs maybe, but if you're only cleaning in a certain region, you could look this up and say, okay, for the majority of the work that I have a high percentage of hardness, in which case you'd use a hard water blend of atomic resin or mixed bed DI resin. But if most of your areas are relatively low, sort of 15 to 20% hardness or less in your water quality report, then there's no advantage. You'd actually spend more on mixed bed DI resin than you would if you were using the 50-50, the standard, window cleaners DI resin. Okay, and then back to me.
Okay, so that's water hardness and TDS, and then if you have high hardness, then you could save more money on if you're a DI user. Doesn't matter if you're in an RO, it doesn't apply. You just use 50-50 mixed bed resin for ROs. But if you're in a DI only environment and you want to use resin and DI tanks, then you would use the hard water blend. So why would you do that? Well, if you're an irregular user or you're using the drive-through car wash method where you're washing the windows and frames with tap water and then you're leaving tap water on the glass, the windows are clean but the water's not, and then you go back and put DI water through your DI tanks, and then you just go over every window, 5 seconds a window, take off the tap water, leave the spot-free water, and you've got spot-free windows. So that's one. Irregular users, just casual users and stuff like that, where you don't want to spend $1,500 to $2,000 on a reverse osmosis system because you don't use it enough, so you'll never get a return on investment. You can use DI resin. It's not cheap, but it's cheaper, right? So therefore it's the right way to go.